All right, in honor of my ever-growing gray beard, let's talk about men getting older. As a coach at Fearless, this seems to be because I am the altar cocker of the group that they say, well, Sam's going to be the spokesman about getting older, which is fine, except I spoke at a conference about, and they wanted me to talk about dating over 40, dating in your 40s and beyond. And I thought, okay, that's a good topic. The problem with the topic is that it's bullshit, because there isn't any difference between dating in your 40s or dating at any other time in your life or dating later in life. The only thing that's different is the stories that you carry around about it. So, what's a story? Story is a series of collected beliefs that come from the outside. Like, age 65. You can retire when you're 65. When you're 65, you're old. Well, that's a story. Now, the more we hear about this, and we hear it, and we see it on pieces of paper, and it's on documents, 65. That creates a story. So as we get closer to 65, the pressure builds up that this is the demarcation line for being old. And it has nothing to do, the number 65 has absolutely nothing to do with getting older, because getting older is a mindset. Getting older is you latching on to stories about women, about your history, about your past, what is acceptable, what is reasonable for somebody your age, and it's a bunch of nonsense. Because the only reason those things have power is because you have some kind of shame that's inside of your body. And if it wasn't going to latch on to getting older, it's going to latch on to something else. So, because any story, whether it's how we look or what's appropriate to, it's inappropriate to dance in the streets, the only reason those stories exist is because you've got something gluing them in place. As soon as you learn to let go and have a better relationship with your inner world, with your emotions, these stories start to float, because there's nothing for them to dig their roots into. I'm going to check my notes. I was with a bunch of old friends at a wedding this past summer. A friend of mine from college, his daughter was getting married. So it was like 5 or 6 of us, really good old friends, and we've been in touch together. And one of them started talking and brought up the subject of how's everybody's health. And within moments, they all started complaining about something that was, breaking down in their bodies, their backs or their stomach or their heart. And I thought, I don't like this conversation. I don't understand where this is going, because I actually knew where it was going. And I knew where it was going when one of the guys said, yeah, getting older's a bitch. And then they left. They are perpetuating stories about age and health that I just didn't want to be a part of. So the question for you is, who do you hang out with? Now, by the way, I love these guys and they'll always be dear, dear friends. But if you're hanging around with people who have self-limiting beliefs about anything, you start to carry on with that. It's like a cult. You all agree. You're comfortable in what you agree upon, even if it isn't expanding you. I talked about this in my self-love webinar about love being expansion, and anything that isn't love feels contracting. So the question is, what's your relationship to getting older? Or how are you aging? That's an even better question. Are you aging and expanding, or are you aging and are you contracting? It's a good question. What is expansion? Self-study, athletics, just a curiosity of mind. education. There's so many things that you can do to keep expanding, because if you aren't growing, you're kind of dying. Now, there's nothing wrong with being comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with not growing. But what happens if you are not growing, you are contracting, and that contraction is what creates this thing of aging, of getting older. Now, Twyla Tharp, the great choreographer who's 83, 85, something now, and she's still busy, and her quote was, the body's going to do what the body's going to do, so let's just get on with it. And I like that. And actually, I think that as you learn to release all these emotions which are stuck inside, you get more flow in your body. And the more flow you have in your body, the healthier you're going to be. You're not going to ossify. You will, but really slowly. I say that I'm going to be 64 next week, that I am pretty much the healthiest I've ever been. And it's not because I work out anymore or I eat really, high quality vegan food. I just eat what I eat. But I have decided that, this may sound insane, but I've decided I'm not going to get old. I'm living in a kind of a fool's paradise. I don't even know if there is such a thing as aging. I think there's such a thing as time passing. And even that I'm not really sure about, because which way is time going? And why not just go the other way? I know this sounds really insane, but it makes me happy. So, wait, I have to look at my notes again. Oh yeah, I was traveling this not so long ago, and there were these 5 guys. They're all goofing around, and I was at some old fort in Lisbon, and they were jumping on the cannons, and they were like pretending the cannons were giant cocks, and they were, they're giant cock as they were riding the cannon. Now, part of me was like, I am trying to enjoy this beautiful old castle, and these 5 assholes are jumping on cannons pretending they're cocks. And then I caught myself. I thought, oh man, I am so close to being a grumpy old man. I am so close to being the get off my lawn guy. And so I thought, I'm going to go the other direction. They're trying to take pictures of them, all riding this giant cock cannon. And I offered to take their picture. And, and they were delighted. They were like enthusiastic. And I realized they're just a bunch of guys, young guys with high spirits. And they were really great. They were gracious, and they were fun to talk to, and they were from Greece. And so the question is, who are you hanging out with? Are you hanging out with people who are growing and expanding? Are you hanging out with younger people? For some reason, I never meet anybody my age. I really don't know where they are. Everything I do, I seem to be around younger people. And I like that. I know a lot of you guys, we'll do a separate video, that you all want to know how you date younger women. I want to date younger women. Well, that's fine. But do you really want to date younger women? I have dated younger women, but I like younger energy. I like open and curious people. And I tend to see that more and more in young people, as opposed to people who are heading into life and contracting as they go. Anyway, so we're all going to die and blah, blah, blah. So it's just a matter of how you're going to move towards your death. Actually, do you ever think about dying? Because if you really meditate on it and really feel it, what it would be like to cease to exist, in that moment of really being honest with how you feel, what comes up? Are you filled with resentment or regret or sadness or missed opportunities or I should have or I wish I had? If that's what's popping up, then it's time to get busy living or get busy dying. And really, what's death anyway? I mean, These bodies of ours changing constantly, and so death is the death of the body, but we have this consciousness that just lives on, that isn't attached to anything, any dead body. And plus, if we are all energy, then our energy doesn't die, it just transmutes into something else. I'm just babbling. I don't know what I'm saying. If you guys want to talk about getting older or death or younger women or whatever you want to talk about, or what this video might have kicked up in you, leave in the comments below and we'll have a chat and open it up. I don't even know what I was talking about. I think I was talking about my beard and then it turned into an aging thing. All right, have fun, you guys.